Max Calandrillo. We're doing the Boxing Debate Grand Prix Season 2, first round, quarterfinals. I'm extremely excited for this. We've got all 8 contenders still in. I'm going to have them all do their quick introductions, and we have 3 very prepared judges to score all of these matches. So, without further ado, I guess we'll go in order from the list that we have up here. Jack Alter, you begin. Tell people a little bit about yourself, your experience competing since you competed last round, and who you are.
Hey, how y'all doing? My name is Jack Alter. Yes, I have been here before. I'm good friends with Max, and I'm well versed in the boxing community. I know everyone in here. I felt I was wrongfully, I felt I won the first time I was in here. Didn't make it to the quarterfinals or the finals or whatever. But yeah, I'm excited to talk boxing, and I got a big year planned ahead of me. So let's just do it. And I can say so much, but I just got to prove it. So yeah.
There we go. Perfect. Glad to have you back, Jack. Billionaire Boxing TV. This is almost like a real Rocky Balboa type of story this guy had in his last tournament round. He was not expected to defeat Spit Bucket or Jack technically. I mean, I knew this guy had a lot of knowledge, but he wasn't as well known. He was able to overcome both of those matchups and get very close to winning the entire debate as the underdog. Billionaire Boxing TV, tell us a little bit about yourself, your experience competing, etc.
Yo, what's good? Can y'all hear me?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yo, man, this is Billionaire Boxing TV from Houston, Texas, bro. I ain't gonna lie, these debates is cool, man. Shout out to the newcomers. Shout out to Howboxingworks, man. We had our dispute in the championship. Hopefully, I can see you again. I don't even care if it's in the
It's
championship.
it's
I got to
inevitable,
get my
man.
get back, brother.
It's inevitable.
But nah, all fun and games, man. I'm just ready to compete, bro.
Glad to
Yeah.
hear, man. We're glad to have you back, truthfully. Loyd Sports. This is the first time you've competed in one of these. This is only the second time we've done it, but you're competing. You're a newcomer, very respected. I've definitely known about your page for a bit on X. So tell us a little bit about yourself, who you are, and what they should expect from you.
Yes, definitely appreciate it, man. This panel, salute, Max. My name's Saint. Lord Sports, a huge boxing fan. Never competed in one of these, but definitely wanted to get into the debate. I liked how you spreaded it out to the whole community and you opened it up for anybody to join. Here I am.
Glad to have you here, man. We're really excited. It's going to be a fun matchup taking on Jack Alter.
Yes,
How
sir.
boxing works, the former champion, reigning champion,
Uh,
technically, he hasn't
Rainy.
lost the belt. Reigning
Uh,
champion, former winner, I should say, from the last tournament. Tell us a little bit about yourself, your time competing, to the people who don't know, let them know.
yeah, man. Nice to meet you guys. My name's Elijah. I'm the owner of How Boxing Works. Basically, I'm a boxing reporter. I go to fights, give coverage, give my opinion. I judge fights. I recently got the opportunity, thanks to Max, to judge my first, to be an unofficial judge for my first card with Pro Box TV. So I want to thank you formally for that, Max. I really appreciate it. That was huge for my brand. Um, Recently, the last month or so, I'd say I've taken a little bit of a break from boxing. Just been focusing on my personal life. I'm in my vehicle today. I'm not in my regular studio that I record in, but I do plan on getting a new setup very soon. So hopefully by the next debate, you guys will see me with a nice new background. Um, but yeah, man, I'm the champ, and I'm here to collect. I'm trying to two-time. So that's what I'm here to do.
Yes, sir. Glad to have you back for sure. We had to have you back. We had to have Billionaire back as well, Jack as well. And actually, we've got another man returning, the dark horse of the tournament, Jay Boogie, Boogie Boxing YouTube. Now, Jay Boogie, just for people who don't know, he took on Jack Alter in the last tournament and lost in a tiebreaker. It was literally a draw, went to an extra round, lost by split decision, was pretty slept on. He helped me out as a judge. He did a great job staying involved with the tournament as well. So I appreciate you. Jay Boogie, this is the only matchup in the entire first round where two people from the last tournament are going against each other. But this is a new matchup. You're taking on Billionaire, which I think is a very unique match. One I'm very excited for. Tell us a little bit about yourself and what fans should expect from you and your experience here.
Yeah, what's up, everybody? I go by Jay Boogie. I got a YouTube channel. I'm pretty active on X. Y'all might have seen me on there. But competed in the first one against Jack, and barely lost. But I'm here to try to make sure Billionaire doesn't make it to the finals this time. But yeah, y'all can follow me at Boogie Boxing YT or Boogie Boxing on YouTube.
Glad to have you back, brother. Honestly, it's going to be a fun matchup. Bishop boxing opinion. One of the reasons this debate tournament actually happened, I don't remember exactly to a T, but I believe it was hectic on Twitter. Either you or him suggested a debate tournament, and I saw it through your account, and it made me decide to do it. And you decided that you wanted to be a judge as well because you were partially responsible for me coming up with the idea due to you. And I appreciate you being involved, honestly. Tell everyone a little bit about yourself. You judged last time. You're competing this time. Tell everyone.
It was a great experience last time judging because it was like it put me in a hot spot because everybody cool with me, and it's like I want everybody to win. And those guys was coming up with their knowledge. It was kind of hard, but that was like one of the best things I've been a part of as far as boxing on Twitter for sure. I definitely like what you got going on. But me personally, I'm just a boxing fan. I love boxing. That's like between fish tanks and boxing. That's what I really loved on my spare time. So, I've been watching this since I've been a kid. I'm partially a troll. I like to troll people also, but then I like to be serious about boxing at the same time. So it's like a blend. That's BBO for you. Shout out to everybody in here.
It's going to be a fun matchup. You're taking on someone who I'm about to bring up in a moment. But before I bring him up, home of boxing, you're taking on, the toughest opponent technically because he won the entire tournament last time in your first round. So you have a lot to prove here. You've got a real chip on your shoulder. If you don't win, it's like Canelo versus Avni Yildirim. If you do win, maybe a good example is like AJ versus Ruiz, maybe. I mean, even that's a bit. So we're glad to have you here, man. Truly respect you being involved, and I'm excited to have you here. Tell everyone a little bit about yourself.
Yeah, hello. I'm happy to be here as well. I'm trying to be the Crawford to Canelo in this matchup, and
Not today, bud.
I'm 20 years old. I've started to really learn about the sport and started paying close attention to boxing in 2019. I love talking about boxing and happy to see how it goes into debate. And just been.
Did you say you're 20 years old?
Yeah, I started really paying close attention to boxing 2019. So yeah, I'm really excited to see how this goes. And just been trying to push my platform on X, HOB, Homo Boxing. Been pushing with some of my takes and competitive fights 2026. And I'm glad to go against the champion. I just want to see how it goes, test my knowledge against him, and hopefully I can make it to the next round.
Honestly, bro, I'm really glad to have you involved. I'm a young guy as well, and Jack's a young guy as well. But Jay Boogie seems to be relatively young also. I mean, no one here is too old, obviously. But
yeah, we're all young, bro. Hey, don't do that, Max. Don't do that.
But I'm talking about young though. Like, can't even legally drink.
Thanks for the
opportunity. What I mean? So, of course, respect for you to being on here. I joined the boxing space officially when I was 10 years old. And, I started to really post more on Twitter when I was like 15, 16. So to see you at a young age doing this, I love to see it. It's nice to see. And, giving me a big task, that's a good thing.
I've seen one of your videos of you when you were younger. That really gave me, inspiration, and yeah, I appreciate you letting me be on here.
100%. Glad to have you involved, honestly. Glad to have you involved. BIunts and boxing. This guy I've been hearing is really solid, really intelligent. Bishop Boxing already kind of realized that he's going in for a tough task. And I haven't even heard BIunts and boxing debate officially, but I'm excited to have him here because of the praise I've heard other people mention. BIunts and boxing, how are you, brother? Tell everyone a little bit about yourself.
I'm doing good. I've been watching the sport religiously for 2 decades, since 17, and now I'm 37. So maybe I got a little bit of time on some of y'all. I'm also the host of a weekly boxing space where we talk about everything that had happened in the week prior and what's coming up in the week, called the Weekly Wrap Up every Monday. So yeah, let's do this.
Yes, sir, man. Glad to have you here. So, got all of our intros ready. All the judges should be ready. I'm excited for this. I'm going to put everyone backstage except for Howboxingworks and Home of Boxing. We're going to get this started, guys. I'm going to move you guys to backstage right now. Move. And we're going to get it started, man. I'm excited for this one. Hold on. Last one. I don't know why it's not letting me press it. All right, fellas. The moment we've been waiting for.
I can't hear you, Max.
Can you hear me or no?
Yeah,
I can't hear you.
Oh,
I can't hear anything.
Howboxingworks having audio
Should I
issues.
leave, come back?
Quickly, yes, really quickly. I'll stall for like a minute. So Home of Boxing, the way this works, because I don't know if you were on when I mentioned it, it's going to be a minute of each topic uninterrupted. You're going to go 1 minute uninterrupted. He's going to go 1 minute interrupted. And then it's going to be a minute and a half of you guys having conversation. So what that means, you could interrupt him and he could interrupt you, like the way a regular conversation flows. And you guys can have a genuine debate in that regard.
All right. I can hear.
Yep. Sounds good.
All right. So let me get these topics really quick, fellas. Also, Boxing Chief, I did do a Gotti documentary a few years back. So you are thinking of me. You're thinking of the right person. Let me find it really quickly. We're going to have 3 rounds. And if somehow it goes to a draw, which happened multiple times in the last tournament, we have a tiebreaker round, which I told you both about. So first topic. The first topic that you guys will be debating is clinching used too much as a defensive tactic in boxing. So how boxing works, I'll have you begin. I forget, unfortunately. I apologize. What was your stance on this?
No, clinching is not used too much as a defensive tactic.
All right, perfect. So we're going to have you go from 11:05 on the top left to 12:05 uninterrupted. So 3, 2, 1, begin.
I think that clinching is not used too much currently in boxing, as in statistically in elite fights, they average about 1 clinch per round. And most of the fights I see, we don't even see ref warnings for excessive clinching, which they do have in place. So if the refs aren't saying it's excessive, I don't think it's excessive. And that's just where I stand on it. I think it's a part of the sport. I think that without clinching, it just becomes kind of a wild street fight. When you get hurt, it's what you use to hold on and to prevent from, taking further punishment. So I don't think it's used excessively. I think it's used as it's needed. And some fans just aren't fans of clinching. People like to see the punches flying, but they don't know. I actually think it's a lost art, and a lot of fighters can benefit from it by actually using it more. More fighters utilize the clinch. Devin Haney gets a lot of flack for using it, but I think he uses it very effectively, and a lot of fighters today can learn from that. But no, I don't think it's excessive, because we never see excessive clinch calls from the referee.
Perfect, brother. Thank you. You went 7 seconds over, so Homa Boxing, I'll give you 1:07 to respond. Begin from 12:25 on the top left. It shows the time to 13:32. So 3, 2, 1.
Yes, I think clinching is used as a defensive tactic in modern boxing for many top-level fighters. We've seen Devin Haney recently against Brian Norman Jr. He used clinching as a defensive tactic in all 12 rounds. Many fans didn't know if Haney would win, and that would be a more competitive fight. But Devin Haney won and became the WBO welterweight champ. Fans saw that Brian Norman struggled to avoid the clinch, and clinching can be a tricky defensive tactic that many boxers do not know how to avoid, and many don't prepare in sparring, getting clinched the whole time. It ruins momentum and runs out the clock. As we've seen recently in the Pitbull versus Roach fight, they both would use clinching tactic from the start of the round. And we saw in the 3rd round, the referee having to separate Pitbull and Roach from the clinch. And just a few seconds after being separated, Pitbull was able to get knocked against Roach in the 3rd round due to the rhythm and momentum being stopped by the ref. Another top-level boxer you've seen uses Tyson Fury. Well, time's up.
Yeah, give or take. But you guys will have back and forth conversation now, so it's not a big deal. So I'll let you continue your point basically in the back and forth conversation. 13:30 to 15 minutes, both of you. Begin Homa Boxing now.
Oh, yeah. I think clinching is used a lot in modern boxing. We've seen it with top-level fighters. Tyson Fury, an example. Shakur Stevenson uses it when he has to as well. We've seen Pitbull and Roach.
See, when you said when he has to, that's not excessive. So the question is it used too much? I don't believe it's used too much. And back to your argument about Devin Haney, Brian Norman Jr. was actually the one that initiated most of the clinches in that fight. So it's funny that you refer to Devin, but when you actually go look at statistically, Norman initiated more clinches that fight than Devin Haney because he was hurt. He got dropped and he needed to hold on. I don't think it's excessive. I think it's used as it's needed.
Yeah, I agree. I see Brian Norman also used it, which shows boxers really use clinching. Brian Norman and Devin Haney used it.
But it wasn't excessive because they didn't get a call from the referee. The referee not one time.
Are more lenient than others, and if we're being truthful.
But I'm saying we never in that fight with all that clinching, not one time did a referee say it was too much.
Roach got points taken off him due to holding. That's excessive clinching, right?
Yeah, that's one call, but give me another fight in recent history where that happens. In most cases, there's never a call for excessive clinching, and if if clinching was excessive, we would get excessive calls in every fight we see. We don't. It's almost never called because it's not excessive. It's not too much, as the
It's part
question
of the
states.
sport, so I feel like the refs are going to be lenient. It's part of the sport. It's never going to stop
It's
clinching.
always at the
Final
ref's
points, fellas.
discretion.
Final points. Go ahead.
Well, we've seen Mayweather. He's a Hall of Fame fighter. He views clinching so well, and look, he stayed undefeated.
Yeah, that's my point. I think it's part. I think that fighters use it as they need to, as a tool,
All right, fellas,
but
we're
it's
good.
not excessive.
All three judges, message me through X your scorecard for round number 1, 10-9 for whoever you scored it for. If it was 10-8, 10-8 either. But obviously, don't be too loose with your 10-10 rounds or your 10-8 rounds. Be very strict with them. So send me your scorecards, all three of you, through message. I really appreciate you. Round number 2. The topic is, does hometown advantage still exist or is it overstated? Boxing, I'll have you go first. What's your stance on this issue?
I said yes. Hometown advantage still exists.
And it's now overstated. Okay, perfect. So you'll go from 16 minutes and 10 seconds to 17 minutes and 10 seconds uninterrupted. Your stance on this. 3, 2, 1, begin.
Yes, I still believe that hometown advantage still exists. Recently, the first major boxing card this year, January 3rd in Puerto Rico, promoted by Most Valuable Promotion. Amanda Serrano versus Reina Tellez. Many fans thought some rounds were closer than the judges were scoring, and many fans thought Tellez might have made it a closer fight than how the judges saw it. But the judges clearly gave Amanda Serrano the round, and Serrano won unanimously against Tellez in Amanda Serrano hometown Puerto Rico, which showed hometown advantage and it still exists. And studies have suggested that the noise and pressure from the home crowd can subconsciously influence officials to favor the hometown fighter on close calls. While there are fewer or less studies on hometown being a disadvantage, there aren't really studies focusing on hometown being a disadvantage, but there are always studies focusing on hometown advantage, which clearly shows it's now overstated, and hometown advantage will always seem to exist. That's why it's a topic in this debate. And hometown advantage means a competitive edge a team or individual gains by competing in a familiar environment or surrounding. And we've seen that in the Amanda Serrano versus Tellez fight.
Okay, perfect, brother. Thank you. Howboxingworks, go from 17:20 to 18:22 because you went 2 seconds over. 3, 2, 1, begin.
I believe that hometown advantage has never existed in boxing because judges are sourced from all over the world. They aren't from that hometown. They come from different countries. So the judges are never from the hometown that the fight takes place. So the hometown advantage doesn't exist. They aren't from that town. Judges are trained to be neutral. They are trained not to listen to the crowd. A crowd is always going to cheer or boo no matter the venue. And the judge is trained to not be persuaded by any of that. But hometown advantage has never existed in boxing because the judges aren't from their hometown. The people that decide the fight are chosen randomly from all over the country. So that's my stance.
Perfect. Thank you for that. We will have a back and forth conversation now. 1810 to 1940. Begin boxing.
Yeah, I just there's no way to argue that point if none of the people deciding the winner are from that town. There's no hometown advantage there because the people that decide the fight that's not their hometown as well. They don't have a bias.
There's a question on this. That's why it's a topic on this debate because it always will exist. It's not. If it didn't exist, it wouldn't be a topic. We've seen Hamza Shiraz.
That's just from unknowing boxing fans.
He had the backing of Turkey, so also the backing of the promoter helps. So,
what happened when Usyk beat Tyson Fury in his hometown? What happened when Devin Haney beat Kambosos in his hometown?
Yeah, that was different. They won unanimously, but I'm talking about like
that's the judges. You're in their hometown. Those judges are supposed to be for Kambosos, right? How did he win that decision?
Carlos Adames versus Hamza Shiraz. Like, we clearly saw. You think Hamza won? No,
those judges were sourced. Pull up the judges from those fights. So none of them are from the same country as Hamza Shiraz. The home cooking advantage could be stated for a promoter, but not for a town. We're talking about your home city. If that influences the outcome of the fight, I don't think so because the judges aren't from your home city and they have no bias.
Yeah, but the judges are getting picked by the promoter or the.
No, judges are chosen at random. Judges are chosen at random. They have to be approved by the promoter, but the judges are selected at random.
Exactly, and we clearly saw Turkey got up during the fight with Adames, and that was clearly something going on there. That's hometown advantage.
That has nothing to do with the judges or the
We've
outcome of the
seen with
fight.
Amanda Serrano recently that many thought that was a closer fight than how the judges had it. But the judge is clearly going to give it to her. MVP probably, chose the judges.
They aren't. The judges are nowhere from where Amanda Serrano's from. They're outsourced from all over the country
Yeah,
to
I
random
understand
places.
that.
So how would they have an advantage with the judging?
They're
How
getting
would they be
paid by the
biased in any way towards their hometown? That's just where I'm at. But that's all I got to say.
bro. We've
Final
seen in
points,
the
guys.
sport.
I'm good.
You're done homo boxing? Okay.
Yeah, we're good.
All right, all three judges. I got all of your scorecard for round one. Please send round two as well. Much appreciated, guys. We've got one final topic. It is going to be: are fans more interested in competitiveness or dominance in fights? So, Homa Boxing, we'll have you go first on this issue. Actually, we'll have Howboxingworks go first on this one. We had Homa Boxing go first last time. What's your stance? And what's your stance before anything?
I think that fans want dominance over competitiveness, and I believe that because knockouts, fans like knockouts. That's
Well, you'll
dominance.
start at 21 and
Oh,
go to 22, and no, go ahead, continue.
all right. Yeah, I think that fans want knockouts. Fans love to see a guy come in and completely take over and wash the other fighter. They want knockouts. It's always been a part of boxing. Fighters don't like Devin Haney. Why? Because he doesn't get knockouts. That's what they want to see. They want to see you dominate. They were like, oh, he dropped Norman, but he didn't do anything else after that. He didn't get the knockout. So that's what they want. Fighters want to see you come in and assert your dominance and win the fight. And it's also part of how you win the fight with ring generalship. They want to see that you're dominating from start to finish. So I think that and people might say they want to see a competitive fight, but the second there's not a knockout, there's criticism. Because at the end of the day, people want to see knockouts and people want to see a clear winner. They don't want to leave it up to the judges.
Perfect, man. Thank you for that. Homa Boxing, go from 22 to 23. And 3,
Okay.
2, 1.
I believe fans are interested in competitiveness in fights, not dominance. We saw fans reacted to Usyk versus Wilder and Bill versus Eifernus compared to Boots versus Virgil, Shakur versus Teal. Boots versus Virgil is a high-demand fight. Fans are more interested in due to the competitiveness from both fighters. Being undefeated and not knowing how it feels to lose is a 50-50 fight that many fans are not sure who the winner will be on the night. Fans want to see something competitive that will have them up on their feet, seeing back and forth action-packed and not knowing who will win the matchup. Studies have shown it makes fans' loyalty stronger for the fighter due to the high risk they are taking. Shakur versus Teofimo, another competitive fight to start off the year, January 31st, where again many fans are eager to see. It's a competitive fight that will get them to get the winner to the next level. Same with Virgil versus Boots fight. These fights are in high demand by the fans. They're interested in the fight. We saw the Tank versus Roach fight. Fans thought it would be a dominance. They just thought Tank versus Roach has a dominance performance by Tank. But clearly it shows competitive, and right after all fans wanted to see it again. And they're still asking for a Roach versus Tank fight today. If it was a dominance fight, it would still not be on high demand till this day. Fans are now even more interested in Tank versus Roach due to the competitiveness in the fight. It was the clearest example of how fans react to dominance fights compared to competitive fights. Fans prefer and are interested in competitiveness in fights.
All right, perfect. Thank you, Homa Boxing. Okay, so back and forth conversation, 23-20 to 24-50, give or take. How boxing works begin.
Yeah, I believe that fans want dominance. You could just look at AJ Jake Paul. Nobody thought that fight would be competitive in any way, shape, or form, and it got tons of views. And I think it'll outdo the views for T.O. Shakur. If you think that T.O. Shakur is going to outdo AJ versus Jake Paul,
you're not talking about real boxing. You're just talking about Joshua.
we're talking about competitiveness versus dominance.
I'm
Everybody
talking
knew
about,
from
like,
the
real
beginning
boxing.
that fight was going to be nothing but dominance from AJ. Nobody thought that fight would be competitive in any way, shape, or
fans are
form.
more interested in competitive. The only fight that fans were interested
If
was
fans were
Paul
interested in
versus Joshua because they want
competitiveness,
to see
if
Jake
fans were
Paul get
interested in
knocked out.
competitiveness, they would have
But
watched
you would be
Loma
lying
versus
if you
Haney.
say people want to see Usyk versus Wilder instead of Fabio Wardley or against the other undefeated fighters, Cabello or
No, people want to see Usyk versus Wilder because they know that he'll beat the crap out of Wilder.
But not many fans. What about Boots
that's a dominant. It's going to be a dominant Usyk performance.
That's going to be a competitive fight. People are excited.
It's going to be competitive, but I'll tell you why that it's not. People don't care about competitiveness more than dominance because more people are tuned into AJ versus Jake Paul than are going to tune in to T.O. versus Shakur.
I'm talking about the casuals. That's the difference.
The casuals pay the casuals pay for the sport. The casuals are majority of the sport.
Oh, for sure. But when it comes to competitive real fights, fans will.
You're talking about hardcores, man. I'm talking about the whole pie.
Yeah, but that's what Jake Paul did. He got the casuals. He's doing good on
Yeah,
that.
that's what you have to do. They like to see lopsided, dominant performances. That's what the fans want to
I feel
see.
like it depends on the person. I feel like many fans. I feel like us as fans, us in the debate. I feel like everybody would choose competitive. You'll be lying if you're not excited for Shakur versus Teal or
I would
versus.
no. I'll tell you why. I'll end this whole thing right now. If you would be more happy if one of those guys, Tio or Shakur, comes in and dominates, than if that fight is 50-50 the
No,
whole way.
I just want to see it back and forth. I just want to see it where
But if one
maybe
of
even
those
a
guys
rematch.
goes in and
That gets me
dominates, it's
excited.
going to be crazier than if it's a 50-50 fight.
Look at what happened to Tank versus Roach. Why do they want to see it again? Because it wasn't a dominance. It was a competitive fight.
That was a good point.
You know? Come on, man.
Respect. All right, good way to end it. Good way to end it. Judges, that's the end of the round. Send me your scorecards, please, and I'll be able to announce this. All three judges, send me your text. Holy crap, Remy's scorecard's ridiculous, man. Remy's scorecard.
Remy's biased. Remy don't fuck with me.
Oh my! No, I'm with Crawford right now. No one knows about me, so
you came with it. You came prepared.
Yeah, I just try to come my best prepared.
These scorecards don't even make sense. They're so different. Hold on, let me add these guys back. I'm gonna put a couple of these guys out.
It's my first time here, so hopefully.
Hold on, give me a second.
Judges are good on this side.
BIunts, I'm gonna re-add you soon. Give me a sec. Jack, I'm gonna re-add you soon. Hold on, I don't know why I just added you. My bad, G. Let me add the judges in quickly before I announce it. Add stage. Don't say anything yet, judges. I want to say it before that. Remy, rejoin. I'll say it and then I'll have the judges explain first. So I already have new phones. So I'm going to announce the decision right now. All right. Spit Bucket Podcast scores about 29-28 for Home of Boxing.
Oh, let's go.
Neutral Corner scores about 29-28 Howboxingworks. And Remy scores about 30-24 for your winner by split decision. And still, Howboxingworks gets the victory by split decision.
Let's go, Remy. You didn't do me dirty, dog.
I think there's hold on. Actually, let me add JJ. I'm gonna remove Billionaire. Billionaire, rejoin the name.
Damn, Remy was talking bad about Remy, but damn, I got that score.
I'm not gonna lie. Before I have the judges say their thoughts, 30-24 is actually insane. Respect to Remy, it's my boy, but
that's me being a Crawford in this fight.
But 29-28 from two judges.
You came with it, dog. That was Howboxing.
Howboxing came on strong. You came on strong, bro. Like round one looked a little rough. Round two, I felt Howboxingworks won, but round three, I think you may have even nicked out.
Yeah, this was my first debate, so I was just getting into rhythm. But yeah,
you did a great job, bro. Congratulations on still giving a great effort. Let's begin with the judges before anything. Mr. Neutral, let's hear what you thought about this matchup, my friend.
How you doing, guys? Great matchup. It started off so well, the two of them. It took until the end of the first round to see where it was going. How boxing works. He just debated his points better in round one for me, and he took that round. Round two, you had an opportunity, Homer Boxing, to actually have took that round, but you failed to capitalize on some crucial points that could have won you it. I'm not going to give them points away. I'll wait till the other judges have spoken. And round three, I thought Homer Boxing, he was on the ropes again. It was a clear-cut round for me. He could have won a 10-8 round, but again failed to capitalize on crucial points. But he will learn as he goes along. But Homer Boxing, you came on strong in the last round. I'll give you the last round because I think Howboxing Mug was just talking nonsense.
I gotta argue my point.
Hey, you did well. You did well because you nearly nicked it from him. I was going 10-10-10. And it's just the last point that he got you on that nicked it for him.
Great debate, fellas. That was awesome. JJ Solomon, you actually had the underdog pulling it off. You had a 29. Homer, can you mute for a minute? You have bad feedback right now. Thank you, bro. You had it 29-28 for Home of Boxing. Tell us a little bit about what you thought about this matchup and your scorecard.
Yeah, first of all, like, you know, like I came in with this thing as unbiased as possible, right? But you still can't help because, you know I'm going to see how boxing works. I know I'm going to see Elijah. So I was shocked. Like that last round. Okay, so all right, I'm going to do the round by round breakdown, but I had it 1-1 going into round 3, and I was thinking in my head, like, how boxing worked, like he's going to bounce back. And then I was like, "Oh my goodness, I got to score this for home of boxing." So I was really not saying anything. Like you said, home of boxing. You're new to the game, so I didn't want to have. I was just shocked at my score. So salute to both gentlemen. But my notes, man.
Oh, you cut off at the end. You still there, JJ? You said my notes and then it cut off. All right, we'll get back to you.
Can you hear me?
Yeah. Just your final point. You said your notes and something.
All right, cool. My notes had okay, so round 1 I gave to How Boxing Works. Real numbers. You use different perspectives to support your point. And then when you said if the refs aren't calling it too often, then it's not a problem. I just couldn't that was, to me, that was the winning blow. Round 2, interesting to what Mr. Neutral said. I literally wrote both guys left meat on the bone. But I just think House of Boxing gave a little bit more. And like you said, I don't want to get too much into what they left on the table, I think. But House of Boxing barely edged out round 2 for me. And then the last round, I just think using AJ versus Jake Paul as your point was
a gamble a little bit. I mean, I saw the argument for sure. But I also see where you're coming from. Final one, Remy. Fall love, bro. 30-24. Could you explain that? Because that caught me heavy. I saw after each round, but like the fact that it happened is so different because the other judges had 29-28 each way. Tell us your scorecard objectively, why you have it that way.
How boxing work, contrary to your belief, man, I ain't got no problem with y'all.
I know, dog. It's all Twitter. I don't take it personal.
Yeah, it's just like disagreeing with certain stuff. But the way I judge debates, bro, and I feel like I need to preface it why I was so decisive in my scorecard. I felt like How Boxing Worked clearly was more in control of the conversation in every round where they had the back and forth. That was really emphatic for me to drive home each point that they both were trying to make with them going back and forth. So I felt like in the first round with the clinching, that was like a clear round for How Boxing Works. I feel like even to a degree that Home of Boxing couldn't really get his point across because what Elijah was saying just made so much more sense. Because he basically pointed out, bro, it's not enough of that it's not an epidemic in boxing, bro. It's a few guys that people are talking about when they bring that up, period. So that's me just using the context of what I see in boxing too. So that's why I gave him that round 10-8. I feel like Home of Boxing couldn't really find his footing on his point in that round. In the second round, I felt like it kind of showed how Elijah's getting experienced in this because he's able to get his point across a lot better. And then in the third round, I felt like he had a bad point. No, it was the second round, actually, to stay on the second round. I felt like Elijah had a bad point. I would have agreed with Home of Boxing otherwise, but the reason I didn't was because I felt like Elijah still got his point across better. But then in the third round, I felt like it just made more sense. I believe that about fans as well. I agree with that point, and I felt like he made the necessary points to get it across. Home of Boxing, you did great though, bro.
Great job. I was worried, especially on the last round.
All right, guys. So we're a little bit long into the stream, so I'll just have you guys both do your post-match thoughts. I'm gonna put the judges back in backstage. Thank you, 3 judges. I'm gonna have you guys prepare for the next one, and I appreciate you guys.
I'll make it short and sweet. I actually got to get out of here, but I'm ready for round 2. Next time, I'm going to be prepared. Should be in the studio, and I'm coming next time, and I'm going to be a lot more prepared. But I see my competition, and I think I got this pretty easy. Thank you, Home of Boxing, for competing against me, man. You did a fantastic job, and I hope to see you in the next one.
All right, thanks for coming on. We'll talk to you soon.
See you guys.
Home of Boxing, the young guy. You're actually my age, which is crazy. Young guy, respect, man. Tell us a little bit about your thoughts, quick post-match recap, and
Oh yeah, I thought I was going against second place winner, but then once I realized it was a champion, I got a bit worried. But I just kind of thought I would do maybe a bit better, would be a bit closer than what the last judge had it. But overall, I was excited how it went, and I would be happy to be a part of it next time again, and maybe against this time, maybe the loser from the next bracket. That way, it's a bit closer, and maybe actually make it the next round.
Respect. Yeah, man. Thank you so much for coming on. You definitely, if you're down to be involved in either competing, judging, whatnot, we'd love to have you involved again. So we'll talk more about it soon. Thank you so much for coming on.
Yeah, appreciate you guys. I'll see you guys next time.
Of course, man. Stay safe, bro.
Yep, you as well.
So our first matchup has come to a close. Howboxingworks advances to the second round. We're gonna move right along. Blunts and Boxing, rejoin the studio if you're watching. Let me send him a quick message because we're gonna be doing Blunts and Boxing versus Bishop. Just give me 1 second, guys. But that was a pretty good matchup. I'm glad both guys are there. Rejoin. Bishop, I'm gonna add you right now. Bishop, how are you, brother? Thank you so much for coming on, man.
I can't hear you, Max.
You can't hear me again? Blunts, can you hear me, bro?
Yeah, I can hear you.
All right.
Can't hear nothing.
Rejoin. Hold on. Let me tell him to rejoin over message. Leave and rejoin.
I can't hear nothing, Max.
Hold on. Now rejoin now. Let's see. Let's get Bishop back in here. Still can't hear anything, Bishop? Still can't.
I gotta leave out and come back in.
All right, he's gonna leave and re-come back. Blunts, did you see that? Did you see that debate? Or I'm sorry, this guy in the chat's making me laugh.
Yeah, no, you're good. I watched it.
Solid, man. That was a good matchup. You know, if you win this match, you take on Howboxingworks. That's the way the bracket's set up. So, bro, what is this wrong with this guy in the chat? I don't know who this guy is, NetSav9, but let's see if Bishop can rejoin now. Bishop, you there? Oh, he joined from another account.
Yeah,
Bishop,
I can hear you. I can hear you now.
Okay, give me 1 second. I'm going to kick your other account that was in. Okay, fellas, you guys saw the last debate. You guys know how the format works. 3 topics, etc. We are going to begin with the first topic. Blunts, you will start. The topic is Naya Inoue already an all-time great, or does he still need more signature wins? So, Blunts, tell everyone your position. You'll go from 37-30 to 38-30. You'll be starting in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go.
All right. In my opinion, and I think it's like it's really inarguable. So I apologize, Bishop. Inoue is already an all-time great, man. 4-division champion, 2-division undisputed, 2-division lineal champion. He has defeated 7 champions for their titles and has defeated 15 world champions altogether. I mean, how can we argue against that? What he's currently doing is legitimately historical work. He's doing things that we have yet to see outside of recency. So a little bit of recency bias kind of changes our mind because we see Crawford and Usyk as 2-time undisputed champions, but in reality, it hasn't been done that often since the 4-belt era. So what we're seeing with Inoue, who's just completely outclassing this every bit of competition that he has in front of him, I think he is showing us he is an all-time great who is currently 32 years old and has more in his future. And will he break more records? Will he continue this reign? I believe so, which even cements his all-time great status even more.
Perfect. Thank you so much for that. I don't know if Bishop was complaining about the audio again. Unfortunately, I hope his he can at least hear me.
Yeah, I can hear you. I ain't hear nothing Blunt said. It's cool though.
You can hear. Oh boy, because that's gonna be an issue because you guys are gonna be having back and forth conversation next round. Yeah. So, if you want to try joining and rejoining or something, one more time, bro, possibly. Yeah, maybe just try doing that one more time, bro, because you guys are gonna have a conversation for the next one, and can't really have a combo if you can't hear each other. I don't know if Bishop's still there or not. Sorry about this technical difficulties, guys. This is just how it is sometimes. Maybe it's when you're in the car because I remember Howboxingworks was also having issues initially. Bishop, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Blunts, can you say something quickly for me?
Bishop, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
All right, perfect. Let's go. Here we go, Bishop. You don't even need to know what BIunts necessarily said for that part because you guys aren't really addressing each other yet. So you have 1 minute. Is Nalia Inui already an all-time great? Is the prompt. You have from 40 minutes to 41 minutes on the top left, uninterrupted. 3, 2, 1, go.
Hell no, I don't think he an all-time great. Do I think he can be? Maybe, but I don't think so. The resume is trash. Like a lot of them dudes he fought, it ain't his fault that they not elite, but at the end of the day, MJ had losses. Donaire had like 5 losses. Taples had losses. All them dudes be having losses. He did beat Cool Boy, but Cool Boy is mid. But the accolades is there, but an all-time great, nah, it's dudes that's way better than him that ain't even make the all-time great list. So I can't stamp him as an all-time great. Not at all.
Short and sweet, Bishop. Short and sweet. All right. So we're going to have a minute and a half conversation back and forth with both of you guys continuing your stances. BIunts, you'll start. Both of you go from 40-50 to 42-20, give or take. 3, 2, 1. Begin, BIunts.
All right. So it's kind of, I think the only argument to push Inoue's all-time great status is resume. But in all reality, when you really look in the depths of things, he does have a very good, respectable resume. And we've seen some other guys who are all-time greats get in with lesser resumes in boxing. And the thing is with Inoue, it's just if you look at it, what we're seeing from the dude who's 32 years old, he continues to show that he can go further and further. Who's to say we don't see him unify at 126? And not even maybe unified. What if we see this man go undisputed in his 3rd weight class? It's so hard to say the man isn't doing all-time great stuff.
No, he doing everything he's supposed to do. It's just that resume, them dudes got losses. Them dudes not elite. Most fans don't even know them guys he fighting, and that's not his fault. But that's just with the hand that he dealt. But at the end of the day, Taples, MJ. That's not solid. It might be solid to you. That ain't solid to me at all. It's cool. It's okay. But a great is a difference. That's just okay to me. But it's it's opinions. You know what I mean? I respect your opinion. I feel differently.
And I respect yours as well. It's just the one thing about boxing, and the hard part is occasionally, specifically at these lower weight classes, we always see dudes who kind of have losses because why? The competition is just a little bit tougher, and they don't have the way out of being able to say, let me marinate fights. Because we see that with the higher weight classes.
What's his best win to you?
I think that's what's so ironic about it. It's 2 different individuals you can argue. And you stated like Nonito, but he had already had some significant losses. Like you said, yes.
40 with crazy losses, and he gave Inoue everything he had, and he was washed at that point for real.
And Bishop, you probably the way you break down the way he currently was, you very well are correct. But the thing is Donaire was an all-time great who continued to win post those Inoue losses. He was at one point in time, I mean, Donaire, less than 5 years removed, was being considered one of the top pound per pound fighters in all of boxing, and he was put in the names of Mayweather, Manny Pacquiao, Lomachenko. That's Donaire's name for a while.
Final point.
No, it's in my opinion, he's already put himself all-time great. It's just from what we see now is how he cements himself as an all-time great.
Lots.
All right. Round 1 comes to a close. 3 judges, send me your scorecards for that. Much appreciated. We're about to move into round number 2. Neutral, I got your score. Spit bucket, I got your score. I just need Remy's. I want to make sure Remy's fully there before. Okay, there we go. So he's typing. Okay. Topic number 2. Do undefeated records help fighters' careers or hurt the sport overall? Bishop, you will start. What's your stance on this issue? And you will have 1 minute as well. 44-10, 45-10.
I think it helps certain fighters, but majority of fighters no, because most fighters try to protect that record. And that's why a lot of these fights not being made. You know what I'm saying? So I feel like some of these dudes like to protect their record, and it kind of blemished the sport a little bit with the big fights that you actually want to see. You know what I'm saying? So some people be having the balls to do it, but some don't. So I just think you know what I'm saying, they need to work on that. I feel like, not for me, in my opinion, nah. That's really it.
Okay. Thank you for that. BIunts, you're going to do same thing, 44-50, 45-50. That will start in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go.
So the issue with undisputed records, what we've seen with making the dramatization of an undefeated record means so much. We have lost the opportunity to see great matches when it mattered. We lost the opportunity to see certain matches that had, when undefeated records meant less, we would have gotten fights much sooner. So unfortunately what we see is the protection of the record. That's like the I believe Mayweather effect of what we've seen in boxing. We've seen fights marinate too long. We've seen fights solely not be made because individuals would rather save the undefeated record than give the boxing fans the fights we want to see. And unfortunately, we continue to see this path. I want to see it pulled away. And, in all reality, it's best for boxing when boxers lose in their prime.
Thank you, guys. Okay, so we're going to go from 46-05 to 47-35 on the back and forth. Bishop, begin.
Yeah, I'm kind of like, I'm at a standstill with it too, because like you said, the fights got to get made and they not getting made, man. And fans like me, I'm a real fan. I really want to see the best fight the best, not mid fight the best or journeymans and get credit. No, back in the day, fighters fought each other. They ain't care about no losses, and they still all-time greats. Today, you got fighters like Tank that just don't want to risk it. You got fighters like Devin Haney that's willing to risk it. Like, you know what I'm saying? So you see how that fight never got made and it was supposed to get made? That's like that, and that's where it's coming to, like, and it can't possibly mess up the sport more if it continue like that.
Yeah, and I think Bishop actually stated it great, and I can't really debate any further on that, because that's the thing. It's just like when the undefeated record meant something and all of a sudden meant more than actually fighting your contemporaries, that's when all of a sudden boxing went into a downward trajectory. And I believe when you look at it in just the last year or two, and I believe with the making of Teofimo Lopez versus Shakur Stevenson, we're actually seeing somewhat of a difference. We're seeing guys in their prime, in their absolute prime, in their 20s, willing to fight each other. Let's all pray and hope that boxing continues to see this trend.
All right, fellas. That's about it. Appreciate it. Judges, send me your scorecard for round number 2. We've got 1 round left for this debate. Let me just get these guys' scorecards quickly. Let's see. Just waiting for one more. Third topic, guys. The third topic will be, are boxing rankings meaningful anymore or mostly promotional tools? BIunts in boxing, your stance, and you'll have from 48-10 to 49-10 uninterrupted. You can start now if you want.
So in reality, boxing rankings have become a promotional tool for our sport. It's less common we see rankings that actually mean something. What we've seen recency, we've seen individuals be placed into a high ranking, not because of what they've done in the ring, but solely because of who their promoter is, what backing they may have, what money they may be able to source. And the reality is, this is not good for the sport of boxing. We're seeing more and more people being placed into position of a title when they shouldn't be. And we're not just seeing it from one promotion. And this is why I say it's an issue with all of boxing, because it's not just one promotion. We're seeing it from all. And when reality hits, when we realize that even that the magazines have rankings that are false and based off of favoritism, that's when we're starting to realize maybe these rankings are an issue. Maybe these rankings are becoming and meaning less and less. When you find Tyson Fury in the rankings at number 2 at the heavyweight division when he hadn't won a fight in 2 years. When you find Rolly Romero being positioned into title fights with no legitimate wins in those weight classes. when you see Conor Benn being positioned in the number one at welterweight, and even though he has not competed in that weight class for years. I can keep going, but there we go.
Perfect. So BIunts went about 40 seconds over. So Bishop, I'll give you an extra 40 if you need it.
Hey, I had put no on that. What was you saying? What was the topic of the rankings, right? Do I think they matter?
No, the topic initially was, are boxing rankings meaningful anymore, or mostly promotional tools?
Oh, yeah, I don't think they meaningful neither. I think that it's just a circus act at this point. I feel like they're just doing whatever they want. They put the pieces that they want in position, and that's how they move, and that's their money, that's their tools. So the ranking system don't mean nothing no more, because it ain't no pride in the sport no more how it was. Like back in the day, the fighters, they took pride in fighting, and they took pride in taking on any contender that challenged them, mandatories, whoever mentioned their name. In today's time, the rankings don't mean nothing. They use it for their advantage. They use it to move around and skip fighters and skip out on fights and stuff like that. So the ranking system is a joke to me, for real. Because like he just said, how is Tyson Fury still in the rankings? It's dudes like Ryan Garcia that'll take a.
There's no miscommunication, because on the initial chat you wrote no, which is true, but BIunts, you wrote yes for topic number 12. So there must have been some type of miscommunication.
Yeah, I was saying no, whereas it don't mean nothing.
Yeah, and BIunts has yes on prompt number 12, but it seems like you were both.
Okay, hey, we'll move on to where him and I can debate it, and I'll switch my debate real quick. That's what makes a great debater. I don't mean to make a joke out of that.
We had the tiebreaker. We could just use that one, if anything. You know what I mean?
And what was that?
Yeah, whichever.
Yeah, so the tiebreaker topic. So judges scrap everything.
That count against BIunts though, because he messed up, not me.
Yeah, no, that's true. It was an accident though. It was, when I send so many things at once, you can misread one or you can get the numbers confused. So it's completely fine. That's why having a tiebreaker is actually a good thing. So we'll just put in that one instead. The tiebreaker was topic number 5, and that was, are rematch clauses helping or hurting boxing? Now let me get both of your stances before we begin. Bishop, rematch clauses hurting or helping boxing? And we'll make this quick. We'll just have you guys debate it against each other, 1.5 minute.
I'm 70% hurting and 30% not.
And BIunts, what'd you say for that?
Yeah, I'll go with that. They're good for the sport.
Okay, so 52-30 to 54, give or take. Both of you at the same time. Regular debate. Final round.
All right, so I'm just gonna say one thing: Tank versus Roach. If a mandatory rematch was in place, we would have actually had a winner that we could say undoubtedly won, instead of somebody else moving along to an exhibition fight versus Jake Paul. We would have actually gotten either Tank give up your belt or do an immediate rematch. That's where immediate rematches are needed in our sport for situations like that. Because unfortunately, us as fans, we can be taken advantage of, and other fighters like Lamont Roach was taken advantage of having a solid and legitimate win.
I agree, but for the most part, that's just one fight. It's been a lot of fights where it's like we got Canelo versus Triple G 3 times when Boo Boo and Charlo and them was in the division, and they could have got an opportunity. I feel like sometimes it messes up for the next man that worked hard to step up. That's just as a good fighter that everybody like, that will want to see him get an opportunity, and he just ain't breaking through because it's constantly rematches. And then most of the time, 9 times out of 10, we know who's going to beat the rematch. This is like if Canelo fight Bud again, we know Bud going to win. It's going to be a waste of time. Who else was just like if Wilder fights Fury again, it's gonna be a waste of time. We know who's gonna win. Like, you know what I'm saying? So I feel like sometimes that do get in the way of things of great boxing, other matches that could be made instead of being shelved.
It's a bit of a catch. It's a bit of a catch-22, Bishop. Where yes, in reality, sometimes an immediate rematch may not be needed, but in sometimes, much like Deontay Wilder versus Tyson Fury, we wanted that immediately.
For sure.
And again, I mean, there's those cases where it's just we as fans need an answer. We need that answer. And unfortunately, it's just, to me, I would much rather have an answer for Tank versus Roach. I would much rather have an answer
that's
for
one
those
fight that I would
situations.
like to see. But like I said, I feel like sometimes they get in the way. Like, I don't want to see Bud and Canelo no more, because I know I don't want to see Spence and Bud no more. I know who's gonna win. And there's other people, other names that can get the shot that could possibly pull something off and make an upset and change the narrative of how the sport going forward. So, you know what I mean? It's up in the air. Like I said, I respect your opinion. I learned from you. So, you my man.
Respect.
You too, my brother.
Yeah, for sure.
Great debate.
That's
that
all
was
I got to say.
Thank you guys for that. Round 3. This was the official round 3. We lost our tiebreaker, so we had to use it. So let's hope there isn't a draw in this one. But if not, I guess we'll go back to Blunts was willing to argue the other point. So if it does end up being a draw, that's what we'll do. Judges, send me your scorecards, please, for round number 3. I really appreciate you 3. Okay, let's see. Oh, gosh. Let's see. Let me just make sure I read this right. Yeah, let me just make sure. Give me like 10 seconds, because they had to like change the rounds. All right, we go to the score totals. Neutral corner scores the bout 29-29 even. Spit Bucket Podcast scores about 29-28, and Remy scores about 30-28 for our winner by majority decision, Blunts and Boxing. Blunts and Boxing gets the nod by MD. Very good match, very competitive. Let me add these guys really quick. We'll have our really quick summaries. Judges, rejoin the stage for me when you can.
Neutral knows me, man. I have sometimes the worst goddamn memory when it comes to who I'm going with.
Yeah, so before anything, Neutral, you had it even. So quickly, because we're a little tight on time, quickly let us know why you scored the way you did. Thank you, brother. You're muted, or I can't hear you. Can't hear you.
Apologies, I was on mute. Yeah, Blunts come out the traps quick. Round 1, easy peasy, 10-9. However, round 2, Bishop come back strong, and I give that round to him. Round 3, Blunts was so quick out with his gun out the holster that he shot himself in the foot with getting the wrong thing. So you went to the tiebreakers. Otherwise, it was a 10-8 round for him. Such was, what I thought was the other way around. Bishop was struggling. So when you come to the tiebreaker, both guys absolutely right in what they were saying. It's down to taste. Do you want to see a rematch or don't you? It's one of them. 10-10. Draw.
Thank you, Neutral Corner. Really appreciate your intake for that. I'm going to put you back in backstage now. Remy, you actually had it for Blunts. Tell us quickly your scorecard. We don't have too much time to spare, but let us know why you scored it and how you scored it.
I felt like Blunts just added a little more depth to his points. I thought they both they were in agreement in the second round, so I felt like I couldn't give that round to anybody. And I like to be decisive about how I feel about the things that I heard. And I felt like rematches are a taboo thing. So with the tiebreaker round, the last round, that was going to be the one to pick the winner for me or make it a draw. And I felt like I agree that rematch clauses are necessary at times. So it's not something I want to see done away with,
Got you, brother. Thank you for that. I'll put you backstage as well. Thank you for your intake. What's it called? Spitbuck had a 29-28 for Blunts, but he has technical issues. So, Bishop Boxing opinion, you gave a great effort. You were close to pulling this one off. A very good debater. Give us your thoughts, your post-fight, post-match.
I think it could have went either way. I ain't mad at the decision because Blunt's a legend, and Blunt really got that knowledge. Like I say, I'll be learning from Blunts and Matt. Certain people that I like to hear talk boxing. So that's my brother. So it's like I'm kind of rooting for him because he's sharp. But Billion and the others is good too. But he beat me, so I'm rooting for the home team right there. And shout out to Blunts, man. Good debate, man. And it's always a pleasure. And shout out to you, Max, too, and everybody else moving forward.
Thank you, Bishop. We loved having you on, and we'll talk to you soon. Thank you, my
No
friend.
doubt. All right.
See you soon, man. BIunts and boxing, you advanced the semifinals, a competitive victory for you, majority decision. You're taking on Howboxingworks. Just give us your post-match thoughts overall.
All I'm going to say is I couldn't have beat a more genuine fucking person in Bishop. Everybody follow Bishop. In How Boxing Works, I'm very excited to do this next little round. It'll be very great, and I will be even more prepared.
Yes, sir. Thank you so much for coming on, brother. We'll see you in the semifinals. I'll send all the information to you very soon. Thank you, my friend.
Thank you, Max.
Of course, brother. See you soon. All righty. We're moving on to the next round. Jack Alter versus Loyd Sports. We're getting closer to the end of this first round. We're more than halfway through. Excited to have this debate. This will be a lot of fun. Thank you so much, by the way, for the comment. It means a lot to me, truly. Thank you so much, my friend. Looking forward to this one, guys. Let me get the topics for you, and we'll get it moving. What did you guys think of those first two debates?
Those were great. Salute to those guys, man. I enjoyed it. I enjoyed watching for sure.
Sir,
Yeah,
yes,
I like them, dude. I was surprised when How Boxing Works and Remy. I thought they had beef, and then it was 30-24, and it was the other way. I was like, oh, that's crazy.
Oh, yeah, that completely caught me off guard, completely. Okay, so we changed our topics a few times. Not really due to Loyd, more due to Jack, but I'm saying that out of love because you're my boy. So we've got a few controversial topics because they're bold, but they're good, and I like it. I'm glad we're doing it. So we've got 3 topics. I want to start off with let's start off with, is Julio Cesar Chavez Sr. overrated? This is a great topic. I want Jack to begin. You guys know the drill. Jack, 101.40 to 102.40 uninterrupted. Is Julio Cesar Chavez Sr. overrated? Begin.
Okay, so I did not know that. I thought this was like a backup topic. I'm going into the Lion's Den with this one because I do believe he's overrated. With there's lots of Mexican pride with Julio Cesar Chavez. He's considered one of the best fighters of all time, but his resume is just not there. Resume is so important. I know JJ's probably watching. Like, he already gave the round to the other guy, but Julio Cesar Chavez, dude, when you look at the guys he's fought, I mean, sure, he beat like guys like Edwin Rosario, but one thing that he did was him going 87-0, right? And there's a big thing that Mexican fighters do when they come up in Mexico, like Jaime Munguia did it, Canelo Alvarez did it. They go like 40-0 against just bums in Mexico, and then they step up. So they have a really nice padded record. Julio Cesar Chavez did that better than anybody. He did it to the point where he was like, I want to say he probably did it for like 60 fights before he really stepped up. I mean, don't quote me on that. But when he fought top guys, like even the Meldrick Taylor one, when Meldrick Taylor and him fought, there was a really controversial fight, the really controversial stoppage with like when he was losing the fight and then 10 seconds left, he was ready to go. And then the ref was like, stop. He would have lost that fight if Richard Steele did not call that fight off. And then Pernell Whitaker, he clearly lost that fight and it was a draw. Julio Cesar Chavez, he's a great fighter. But what he's done for boxing, it's important. Like, he's brought so many fans. He's very, there's a lot of pride there. But his skill as a fighter, he could never beat the top level guys. And I know he fought for a very long time. So when he fought like De La Hoya, he was a bit old when he fought De La Hoya. Yeah, but still, he was still young and in his prime when he fought guys like Whitaker, and he lost that fight. And everyone knows, yes, it was a draw. Everyone knows he lost the fight to Whitaker. And the Meldrick Taylor fight, you can say what you want, but he should have lost that one too. And then the padded record, I'm not going to say padded, but that's what guys in Mexico do. They have a nice little come up with no names to make a nice little record, and then they fight the top guys. So, yeah.
Thank you, Jack. You went a bit over, so Loyd, I'll give you some leeway with time as well. Your stance, Julio Cesar Chavez Sr. being overrated or not. 103.50, begin.
Well, definitely disagree with Jack there. And he definitely gave some points where he's leaning towards him not knowing if he's going with the idea of being overrated or not. We're talking about a guy who was 89-0. I think he said 86. It was 89-0 before he got beat. World titles in 3 different weight classes. No long layoffs, no cherry picking. You mentioned some guys he beat. You left off, he beat Roger Mayweather, a great talent in the sport. And people talk about the Meldrick Taylor fight. He still got the W, which what matters when you're facing another great. He beat Hector Camacho, somebody you left off. a great fighter like that is not overrated, in my opinion. You talked about his style, a style that he mastered in, a pressure fighter, incredible work rate, and durability, definitely. So I just don't agree that he was an overrated fighter. A lot of fighters look up to him, and he dominated his era.
Thank you for that, Loyd. Much appreciated. So back and forth, start from 105, aim for 106.30. Go ahead, Jack. You started.
Okay, so yes, I believe Chavez is special. Like you were saying, the way he fights, the come forward, you know, the slip and throw the body shots. He had great body shots, great pressure fighter. He's an amazing pressure fighter. He really made that style, like popularized it, being a pressure like boxer. But like you were saying, Hector Camacho, Edwin Rosario, where is like the best win? Like Chavez, he's an amazing fighter. He's one of the all-time best, but he's not he's not at the top 10 of all time because he couldn't do that to the top guys. Like you're saying, let me ask you something. Is Pernell Whitaker better than Camacho?
I would like to ask, when people mention Mexican fighters and who's the greats, who do they compare Canelo to? Who is he chasing, or who is 1-2 or 1B? It's usually Julio Cesar Chavez. So how can he not be great in that sense and calling him overrated? That makes no sense. You would then be having to call Canelo overrated if they compare him so much to being a great Mexican fighter. So, and again, back to the style that he used, not only is it a physical thing, it's a mental thing that's exhaustion as well when you're going against it as a fighter. He takes it out of you with his pressure. And I believe he's one of the best all-time pressure fighters, if you're asking me.
No, yeah. I said I agree with that. But you said like people will compare Canelo to Chavez. See, that's people overrating Chavez. Like Chavez, I mean, look, like I said, he's great, but he's not the top guy. He never beat an elite guy in their prime. And that it was, by the way, you said it was 87. He went 87-0, but he went 89. I think 89 was his first draw.
Yes.
When he fought Whitaker. So 89.
Right. 89-0 with the draw. Yes.
Yeah, but that's padded. If you look at his first like 50 fights, like I said, like guys like Canelo, Munguia, like upcoming Mexicans in Mexico, they have a long streak of fighting no-name guys to build up their record. So that's why he went on, like everyone's like, oh my gosh, no one's on.
Can't say no name if we have 4 or 5 great fighters on his resume. Medrick Taylor, Hector Camacho, you named Edwin Rosario. I gave you Roger Mayweather. These are not just bums. No, not at all.
Not bums, but why didn't he beat guys like Pernell Whitaker? Why didn't he beat Pernell Whitaker? He's a little too.
We're talking about Pernell Whitaker, a young stud talent Olympian. That's the case.
Exactly. He couldn't beat.
That's one loss that you mentioned. I gave you 4 or 5 guys.
Yeah, but he couldn't beat guys.
Elite guys, not just guys. I apologize. Roger Mayweather definitely was not a regular guy. Edwin Rosario, in that matter, elite guys.
They're not elite. They're not like Whitaker. They're not guys like Whitaker. He couldn't beat those guys. So that's my point.
All right, fellas. I guess that comes to close to round number 1. All 3 judges, please send me your scorecards for how you scored it, the very first round. I really appreciate it. So the next topic that we will be doing, let me make sure of it, because I know we kind of switched it up a few times. Good round, fellas. Really enjoyed it. We're going to do, is Terrence Crawford already a top 10 boxer of all time? I remember seeing you guys have a disagreement on that stance. So, Saint, we'll have you go first. Is Terrence Crawford already a top 10 boxer of all time? Go from 108.35 to 109.40. Begin.
Is Terrence Crawford an top 10 all-time great? I believe I was on the side of he's not yet.
Correct.
Yes. If we're talking about, I came to realization, understanding that there's eras in this sport of boxing that we love. 10 guys, there's a plethora of guys that we fail to acknowledge that paved the way for a lot of our favorites today. We got guys like Jack Dempsey, who never gets mentioned, John L. Sullivan, Jack Johnson, we got Willie Pep, That's already like 5 or 6 guys in an era that we weren't even here to live to see it. But if you know boxing, you must acknowledge the ones who came before you. And that's just history alone. Not because of his talent. I didn't say Terrence Crawford was not an all-time great. But again, the realization, if you understand the sport, there's a lot of plethora of talent, a lot of greats that came before the ones we love today, Terrence Crawford included. And so that's kind of how I pictured it. And that was just a couple of guys. There's a plethora of guys that we all know together that we mention more often. And I just wanted to mention the guys that we failed to keep off the list. And there's a couple more that was not mentioned as well. Ezra Charles, we got, greats like, Roberto Duran. We can go there. We can go to the 80s, Tommy Hearns, Sugar Ray Leonard, Marvin Hagler, that's way over 10 guys. So to put him in 10, it's just tough to me, that's all.
Thank you, my friend. Jack Alter, your turn, man. Let's hear your stance on this. Go from 110.40 to 111.40, give or take. And 3, 2, 1, begin.
Okay, so I did not do like my top 10 all-time boxers, so I can't say where I would put Crawford, but I would put him maybe not even the top 10, like maybe like 11 or 12 all-time. There's guys like Duran, Ali, Robinson, guys that are better than him. But a lot of guys love to talk about the old guys. Like, Loyd was just talking about just now. We got to give props to the old guys. You want to do that so much that you don't give credit to the new guys. What Terrence Crawford has done, he is the only, you can say Clarissa Shields, he is the only 3-time undisputed champion, 3-weight undisputed champion in this new era as a man. I mean, okay, let's exclude Clarissa Shields for now. What he did against Canelo, and by the way, we're just talking about now because I don't think Crawford is retired. I think he'll come back, and I think he could become like a 4-weight champion at 160, but let's talk about now. That win over Canelo, he really went up 2 divisions to beat Canelo. And look at his last 3. His last 3 fights were in that 3-fight run. He beat Errol Spence in a 50-50 fight in one of the best. It was a 50-50 fight, one of the best boxing performances of all time. And he destroyed Errol Spence, a unified, undefeated champion. He destroyed him in one of the best performances of all time that today people still talk about. Then he went up a weight class to fight undefeated Madrimov, and he had a close, tough fight. Yeah, but that was just getting ready for Canelo. And then he did what he did against Canelo, dude. I'm sorry. Crawford is a special, special guy. And what he's done in that last 3-fight run, especially that win over Canelo going up 2 divisions, bro, I'm sorry. You have to place him all time. Like, I don't know if you can, like, he'd be bottom tier, top 10. Like, I don't have my exact list out there for you. But you have to put him up there. Like, top 15, bottom tier, top 10, bro. What he did against Canelo, dude, it was really, really special. It was really, really special. So, yeah, I think Terrence Crawford is an all-time great, top 15, top 10 of all time. Absolutely. No doubt in my mind.
All right. Thank you, Jack. So back and forth, 112.50 to 114.30, give or take. Loyd, you'll begin, but you guys will be having back and forth conversation. 3, 2, 1, start.
All right. You failing to realize again, the acknowledgement of the greats. It's not me giving props. How can we ignore greatness? It's more than just props. It's more than just hype. We got a guy you mentioned, the great Muhammad Ali, and a big factor you left off, just riddling Terrence Crawford accomplishments. Man, it kind of hurts me to get on Bud, but politics play a big factor, in this certain particular topic. Rather, Bud Crawford got the opportunity to get these undisputed championships, something that wasn't along the factor when I was talking about the greats. You want to mention Joe Louis, Sugar Ray Robinson, guys who were doing similar things with less politics, more politics on them rather. Henry Armstrong, and how do you put Crawford to me over Floyd Mayweather? So I
didn't. I said in my top. I said guys like I straight up said guys like Sugar Ray Robinson, Floyd Mayweather. You have to put them above Crawford, of course.
Okay.
You mentioned politics, dude. Crawford's entire career, he was on the other side of the street at ESPN with all the other top guys at like welterweight.
Would you say Duran? Would you say Duran?
Yes, I would say Duran's better. I said
Leonard, Sugar Ray Leonard.
Yes, I'd say Sugar Ray Leonard.
Tommy Hearns.
I don't know about that. I mean, now you're just listing guys.
Marvin Hagler.
You're just trying to. Here's what you're trying to do. You're just trying to name.
No, I'm
10
just
guys.
listing it off because I believe the topic was top 10. You entered saying 11 or 12. Now I'm giving them to you so we can make it clear on how he is not top 10 by giving you certain guys that you may know. So that's all I was.
No, I still think he could be top 10. Like, look, okay, let's look at it real quick.
If he does more.
What?
Because you just said he could still be top 10. What if he does more? Well, right now he's currently retired, so I don't think he could do more.
I think he's in that. He could be in the top 10 spot, but you're like saying there's no doubt. Like there's no way you can put him in that top 10 of all time. That's what you're saying.
I can't put him in the top 10. Bud made his choice to retire. We all wanted to see if he could do the unthinkable, and that's going undisputed at the 160-pound division. I'm not sure what changed his mind about that. It seemed like what he was looking to do. That would have done it for sure. But currently, no. There's a plethora of guys that I believe is ahead of him, and we both agreed on that. Really, because you said he was either 11 or 12.
I mean, if you want to talk about like these old guys, what have they done? What other guy has gone up 2 weight divisions to be a superstar like he did with Canelo? What other past guy has done that? Gone up 2 divisions the way he did?
Well, what he did was remarkable, but it was the same similar thing that Henry Armstrong did. Went up a weight class, went up 2 weight classes and won a belt. But it wasn't undisputed. It wasn't undisputed at the time. It wasn't undisputed at the time because of politics, of course. That we didn't have those sanctioning bodies at the time. But when Henry Armstrong was fighting, so it couldn't be for undisputed. I was just giving you a stat of someone who went up the weight classes just like Bud did.
Well,
final points, guys. Come on, go ahead, Jack.
Like I said, I understand where you're coming from, but just like what he's done, that last 3-fight run, especially with like the Errol Spence win, dude. I mean, you have to put him up somewhere. Like you can't just leave him out just because he's one of the newer guys. He's special.
He's elite. He's elite, but history is crowded, and the top 10 is exclusive for a reason. Again, I want to agree with you when you said you don't think he's really retired. I don't either. I think he's taking a break, and we shall see what Bud has left in store.
All right, perfect. All right, final topic, guys, unless a tiebreaker is needed. Judges, send me your scorecards. I apologize for my notifications popping up. Send me your scorecards, judges, for round number 2. Final topic. Mike Tyson is the most overrated boxer of all time. Let's have Jack Alter begin with this one. Jack, start it off. Mike Tyson, most overrated fighter of all time. 117-20 to 118-20, give or take. Begin.
Okay, so I'm going into the Lions Den here once again, and we're talking about an overrated boxer. So, I got into boxing, and Mike Tyson was one of my favorite fighters of all time. But I slowly learned that Mike Tyson wasn't the guy that everyone says he is. Mike Tyson's resume, he never beat a top guy. And look, if you go on the street and you ask people, name me 3 boxers, name me just any boxers people would say Mike Tyson and Muhammad Ali. Those are like the 2 because everyone knows Mike Tyson. Yeah, he was a menace. He was devastating. But, dude, same thing with Chavez, dude. Especially Mike Tyson, his resume is terrible. Mike Tyson has a terrible resume, dude. Every time he stepped up and fought somebody at like the elite level that wasn't even scared of him, he lost. And people love to say, oh, prime Mike Tyson. When he was with Customato, he would have beaten anybody. Dude, when he was with Customato, even fighting the amateurs, he was still losing to guys. He was still having those like 8-second knockouts of the, oh my gosh, look how fast this guy is. Look at this fast little heavyweight. He's only 5'10", knocking guys out. He was still losing fights in the amateurs to guys who were more relaxed than him. So you get that nonsense out of here. And even when he was in the 80s, still in his prime, before he lost those big fights, he was still looking vulnerable when he fought guys like Tony Tucker and he went the entire distance. And you could tell like he's not on the level as guys like Evander Holyfield, Lennox Lewis, especially Muhammad Ali. His resume is just not there. It just does not hold up. Sorry, I probably went over the minute.
You're good, G. No problem. Loyd, 118.50 to 119.50, give or take. Begin, bro.
Gotcha. Wow, man, another topic where you failing to realize the dominance of a fighter, Mike Tyson. And when we say dominance, that's the perfect word for Mike Tyson. He's definitely not overrated. And people judge him so unfairly because of the late losses, and they confuse longevity with peak. Remember that word, peak. No heavyweight have we ever seen was like Mike Tyson. we don't downgrade Ali for his late losses. So why do we do it to Mike? Right. And you mentioned elite fighters that he fought. Because he lost, that means that he's not a great. We're talking about a guy who was the youngest heavyweight champion in the world, 20 years old, unified the division fast, knocked out. You mentioned Tucker, undefeated champion at the time. See, things that we're failing to realize. He beat a lineal champion when he unified. He was just dominant in his era, just dominant. So how can we negate his dominance and confuse it with longevity, which is what most fans like to do? He lost this, he lost when he was late in his career, and you blame that. Again, other greats have lost late in their career. Why do everyone do it to Mike? And I'll leave you with this. When people seen Jake Paul versus Mike Tyson, if a guy is overrated, why do they want to tune in so much? Because they remember the peak of dominance. No one is overrated for that.
Got you, boys. Solid. So, correct me if I'm wrong. That was the final round, right? Where
we still got a debate.
Yeah. So we're gonna begin final points. Jack, you start. It'll be back and forth convo. 120.50 to 122.30, give or take. 3, 2, 1.
Okay, so you bring up like, oh, look, that's why Jake Paul brought up Mike Tyson. Yes, because Mike Tyson's so overrated. And let me just ask you one question, dude. You mentioned Muhammad Ali and all these other guys he's compared to. What was the best win Mike Tyson had in his career?
Spinks. He was undefeated and lineal at the time.
Spinks is the best win? Okay, yeah. Round over, bro. Round over. Okay, what's Muhammad Ali's best win?
Man, hey, that's debatable. A lot of people say Foreman. A lot of people say when he beat Joe Frazier. It just depends, you know. But to me, because Spinks was undefeated and lineal at the time when Mike did it, and Mike did it in a minute. That infamous knock like 91 seconds. It was quick.
Yeah,
it was.
Do you think Spinks is comparable to like guys
You
like?
tell me what was his best win. I'm sorry.
So you think Spinks is comparable to like Muhammad Ali's best win? Muhammad Ali's best
win?
No.
No, you asked me what was Mike Tyson's best win.
I know. So compare Mike Tyson to the other top heavyweights of all time. You think his wins are comparable? It's not even close.
Well, it's a lot of more factors that come in to comparing Mike Tyson and Muhammad Ali. It's him being the youngest heavyweight champion of the world, unifying all the divisions
fast. Does that have to do with anything, though? Like, dude, you could be the youngest heavyweight champion.
No, that's how he's comparable to being a great. He was dominant in his peak from 85 to 89. He instilled fear to heavyweights out of this world. That's one thing. That's one thing in its own. He changed. There will never, think about this. There will never be another Mike Tyson. Think about that. That's a fighter that's not overrated. For sure.
That is a fight that's over. And you say that his losses late in his career, dude. He fought Evander Holyfield, and Mike Tyson was a guy that had a really young prime.
Right. But losing to Holyfield and Lewis doesn't make you overrated. Those are all-time greats.
I mean, if he's this great guy, he should have beat them. And
those
he lost
all-time
to
greats.
Douglas too. He should have beat those guys if he's this amazing all-time dominant great.
Buster Douglas.
Those guys.
There's a lot of context with Buster Douglas, but then again, like I said before, losing to Holyfield and Lewis doesn't make you overrated when those are all-time greats. Losing to an all-time great is not bad, but let's center this point back. The peak of dominance should not get confused with longevity for a fighter, which is why most people use the word overrated for Mike Tyson. Using his late career losses towards his dominant peak is something they should.
I'm not using late career losses, but my final point is you keep talking about this dominant run, man. It was against lower tier opposition, and whenever he stepped up, he lost.
No, it could not be lower tier. If Berbick was a champion, Tucker, who you mentioned, was an undefeated champion, and then Spinks, undefeated lineal champion, and another champion because he unified the division at a young age. He couldn't be no name from 85 to 89. He dominated, and that's a dominant peak era for a fighter that's not overrated. No way, Jose. If you ask any heavyweight today, they'll say Mike Tyson was a great. That's a fighter that's not great.
He's not as great as you put him out to, as you make him out to be.
Now, if the topic was, is he a top 5 heavyweight?
No, that wasn't the topic. It was just, is he overrated?
Right. He's not overrated. No.
Overrated.
Why do people tune in to Jake Paul and Mike Tyson, you think?
Because they know Mike Tyson being this dominant animal, but Mike Tyson.
Right. That's a fighter that's not overrated. Correct. That is a fighter that's not overrated. Correct.
He's very overrated. I'm sorry, brother. And I know, hey, real quick. Hey, one last point. How old are you?
29.
Okay, so never mind. Okay, I was gonna say, so he's young.
But I'll be 30. I'll be 30 February 1st. January 31st is a birthday to us, guys. We have a great card in Shakur Stevenson versus Teofimo Lopez. So I'm just kind of treating myself to that. It feels like a birthday present. But I'll be 30 February 1st.
Okay, so yeah, one sec, Max. Let's just finish this off. So yeah, you're a very young guy, but a lot of people like to say like Mike Tyson's run. Like I don't know if you talk to your dad, like if you maybe talk to your dad about, oh, look at Mike Tyson's run. They look at that run of dominance, and that's all they see. They don't look deep down and be like, well, Mike Tyson, every time he really stepped up, he lost. People don't look at that.
Stepping up doesn't mean you're not overrated, though. He stepped up. He lost to all-time greats.
Okay,
Lomachenko. Let's use Lomachenko, for example. Each fight, each great he fought, when he stepped up, he lost. Does that mean he's overrated?
Wait, no. Do you rank him in your top 10 heavyweights of all time?
Mike Tyson?
Yeah.
Yes. He's the youngest heavyweight champion in history. Yes.
Okay, wait. So what does being the youngest heavyweight champion in history have to do with anything? You could be the youngest heavyweight champion and just have one title, not even have a single title.
If it doesn't have to do anything in history, why hasn't it been done in the last 25 years?
That's just one acclimate he did. Yeah, he was a young champion, but dude,
young champion, and that point I made, he unified all the three belts faster than most people did, match after match. When he got Berbick, then he got Tucker, and then Spinks, undefeated lineal champion at the time.
Do you believe that if he fought guys like Lennox Lewis or Evander Holyfield in his prime, he would have won, or do you know that he's not as good as those guys?
In his prime? Oh man. See, I'm glad I didn't even bring up any, dirt context with Mike Tyson. Most guys like to bring up, how he wasn't training, and I never brought any of that up. So you just asked me in his prime. Oh, that as soon as you asked me that, that's what I thought of. In his prime, oh man, those guys would have dealt with a lot more focused Mike, and anybody would agree to that for sure. And I didn't want to use those factors that he had in his life. We all know he was a party animal,
We've gone like 3 minutes.
Let's go.
Final points.
Okay.
Yeah, but people just look at that run of dominance, but they don't look into the fine print. And people are so passionate about Mike Tyson. Like, dude, look, Mike Tyson is special. I will say, Mike Tyson is very special. We never saw that speed before. We never saw that dominance. But everyone's saying he's like the best. Oh, Mike Tyson is one of the best boxers of all time. Dude, every time he stepped up, he couldn't do that same run of dominance. Like, look when he fought Holyfield, and you said that was still young. He was like 27 when he fought Holyfield. He kept getting countered over and over, and he was getting cooked the entire fight because he cannot do that at the top level.
Lost to another great. That's what happened with Holyfield. Lost his cool as well, Obviously, we know the infamous bite on the ear. But my final point to the Mike Tyson is like, not only is he an all-time great and not overrated, we have fighters today that they like to compare themselves to, fans or pupils, reporters, when they see something similar to the dominance they've seen in Mike Tyson. And that's fighters like Gervonta Davis. There was a time where they like to call him the little Mike Tyson. You got guys coming up like Kermel Moton. He gets compared to the Gervonta Davis. Where do you think that comes from? That bully aspect factor that Mike Tyson left in the sport, and that circles back to the point. He's not an overrated fighter.
Okay, wait, Max, please, Max. One more thing, Max.
Go ahead, Jack.
One more thing. Look, you seem like you know boxing, but the thing is, guys who really don't know boxing say he's like the best of all time, and that's my point. People rate him so highly. He is commonly known as like the top three boxer of all time, and he's not that. Can you agree that? Because that's what a lot of people say. Do you think Mike Tyson?
Definitely not top three boxer of all time, but popularity is the reason why they would say that. He was dominant and popular, and people would love knockouts, and that's what he provided. I would agree with you that he's top three popular, right? But not top three great fighters. No, not at all. But that doesn't make a fighter overrated. We got a great fighter. Watch this. We have a great fighter in Floyd Mayweather who's also popular. A great fighter in Muhammad Ali who's also popular. You wouldn't say Muhammad Ali or Floyd Mayweather is overrated.
Because the resume is much better, and they did better things. Okay.
But I'll just compare.
We need to stop for Max.
Very long. Not that I would like care anything, but it's more just because of this isn't the final round because Billionaire's next. So everyone send me your scorecards. Round is over. Just
Hey,
waiting.
much love,
for-
Loyd. Much love, brother. You know your stuff.
Much love. Yes, definitely,
Great
man.
debate, guys.
Sure.
Respect both. Spit
Appreciate
Bucket sending it right now. Okay, so, oh boy. All right, Remy scores about 29-28. Spit Bucket scores about 30-27. Neutral scores about 30-25. For a winner by unanimous decision, Loyd Sports gets the job done. Oh, let me add these guys back in. Jack, stay with me, bro. Stay with me, Jack. What's it called? I'm just gonna add neutral for now. If Remy wants to rejoin, he can. Spit Bucket's having issues. So before you guys say your points, Loyd Sports gets the job done by UD. Neutral, break down your scorecard for me, please, brother. Thank you. Mute it again.
I can't hear him.
Yes, thank you. Sorry about that. I like to
Okay.
keep myself muted. Yeah. Oh, Jack. You really were in the lion's den for two of those rounds. Picking on Chavez the way you did, trying to say that he's not an all-time great.
No, I said he is.
Yeah, but what was the topic of the
He was
question?
overrated. He was
overrated?
Yeah.
overrated.
Overrated. 13 years undefeated, 21 champions, 3 weight division champion, lineal, 2 of them. If that's to say that he's overrated, it's just ridiculous in my eyes, mate. Sorry about that. I scored round 1, 10-9 to Loyd Sports. 10 in round 2, you dropped the ball because you said Crawford wasn't inside the top 10. You said he's around 11, so you got a point off straight away for that. And then I felt that Loyd debated his points better, so I'll give that as a 10-8. And round 3, Mike Tyson, youngest undisputed heavyweight champion at the age of 20. He beat all champions. He beat an undisputed 2-weight world champion, lineal champion, Michael Spinks, amongst many others. And when he did come out of jail, he beat another 2 champions in Bruce Seldon and Frank Bruno, and Frank Bruno had just toppled Oliver McCall, who beat Lennox Lewis. So, your points were very weak when it comes to say, is he overrated? No, he's not. He's not over. I felt your points were trying to make it out as if he was an all-time number 3 heavyweight. You just come off the boil for me. The boy, the lad at the time, Mike Tyson. He didn't become the baddest man on the planet, the most paid boxer in history for nothing. He's known worldwide. Overrated? Of course he wasn't.
Thank you, my friend. Thank you, Neutral, for your intake for that, brother.
No problem.
He won't be able to join to give his take, and Remy's actually done. So I had to switch Remy out with Howboxing as a judge because Remy ran out of time. So we're gonna have a different judge for the final matchup. But thank you, Neutral. I'm gonna put you backstage for the final debate. Thank you, my friend. All right, Jack. Floor is yours, bro. Don't take too long just because of the time strain, but say whatever you want to say. You have a minute and a half or 2 for me. Thank you, brother. Go ahead.
I just realized who that guy was. I mean, he has the Mike Tyson on his wall, and I feel like these people aren't really hearing my arguments. I feel like straight up, I very clearly won that debate. Like Loyd, all respect, brother, all respect in the world. But I think Max, he won't say it, but I think Max
Jack,
knows.
I love you, Jack. You're my boy. I think
Max.
Loyd was a bit stronger, bro. I'll be honest. I don't think it was 30-25. But objectively,
Yeah,
Loyd. And I will say this, Jack, what was stopping you is that your mic is not as loud as Loyd. So a lot of what you were saying, we couldn't even hear all the time. But objectively, Loyd was giving very strong arguments. It was close. I'll rewatch it. But I felt that Loyd did nick it from what I saw, brother. With all due respect.
Okay. Let me just say my final point. I don't think it was close either. I feel like my points, and I'm not trying to be like a dick about it either, but I just feel like all my points were better, and I got the better topics, and everything was just perfect. But I give them all the props. Some people don't understand boxing, and that's why guys like, that one judge, he had a lot of feelings about what he was saying. But I give you all props, Loyd. There's nothing against you. I just feel like I won that, and it's all love, Max. I'm not going to be doing these again because I feel like this is the second time I've been jobbed. And bro, no,
Yeah,
it's all love here. It's all love. If you watch that, you know boxing. If you really know boxing like me, you will say that was a really bad robbery. I was cooking the entire time. But no, I'm not gonna be a dick. Loyd, so I apologize for saying all that. Much love. And yeah, you take care, everybody.
All right, Jack. See you soon, bro. All right, I don't know what that was about, but Loyd, you got the job done. Congratulations, brother. You looked really sharp in there, knew your thing, did a great job. We actually thought you were older because you just seemed like a wise soul in there. So just tell us your post-match thoughts, brother.
For sure. Nah, first off, man, I appreciate the opportunity. Never did a debate before, like I said in the intro. So it was something new for me. I treated it as a networking space, a fellowship of guys who love a sport that we follow, and figured why not involve myself. I got a couple projects in the works. One of them that I believe you're gonna really enjoy, and we'll talk about it after this. But again, salute to the guys, salute to the boxing talk. I'd rather be doing this than anything else, man. Appreciate it, Max. You're great. Thank you, and thank you, Jack. No worries, man. All love, salute. And I hope to be in the next. Well, yeah, I am. So yeah.
Come on, yes, sir. Yes, of course, man. We're looking forward to seeing more about your projects. Feel free to let us know more about that in the future. Thank you so much for this, and I'll see you in the semifinals. You did a great job, brother. Talk to you soon, man.
Talk to you soon. Thank you.
Of course, brother. All right, boys. We got one more matchup, and we are finished with this. So let me add the boys to the stage now. The final matchup. You know, this is honestly probably the one I was looking forward to the most. Maybe the build-up is what I liked. You know, I've seen both of you guys debate before. You guys are both talented. Billionaire is going to rejoin in a second. He must have had some type of internet issue, but looking forward to this one. Jay Boogie, did you watch that last debate? What were some of your thoughts on it objectively? Let me message Billionaire while you do so.
Yeah, I saw that last debate. It was really good. It was back and forth. I mean, I probably agree with Jack on more of the points, but as far as like the actual back and forth and the debating, I don't know how I would score it, but it was a good one. So hopefully I win and I get to face Loyd.
Yes, sir, man. My two boys. I'm excited to have both of you on here. You know, you guys both know your stuff. This is the final debate. I'm looking for the quick notes that I have of your topics, and we'll get it going. So, both men ready? I assume we're going to begin this. First topic: is cutting extreme weight an unfair advantage rather than a personal choice? Billionaire Boxing, your stance and your opinion. You have 1 minute. Begin, bro.
Well, weight classes in boxing were introduced to ensure that fighters were evenly matched in size, so outcomes are determined by skill, technique, and strategy rather than physical disparity. The goal is a level playing field where a naturally smaller fighter isn't overwhelmed by a larger one. Extreme weight cutting, rapidly shedding pounds through dehydration, starvation, and other methods before weigh-in, and then rehydrating undermines this and allow fighters to come in stronger and heavier than their opponents on fight night. Fighters often cut 10 to 20 pounds to make weight, then regain most of it 24 to 36 hours before fight night. My example, Arturo Gatti versus Joey Gamanchi in the year 2000. The fight was at 140. Arturo Gatti came in at 160, and people thought that aided a brutal knockout, and it sparked a lot of controversy and safety and fairness. This is not a personal choice. This is a problem in boxing, and it's a systematic issue that causes mismatches and endangers fighters.
Thank you, brother. Appreciate you. Jay Boogie, 1 minute, 138.20 to 139.20. 3, 2, 1, begin.
Okay, so the topic is it an unfair advantage? So I would agree that a lot of times cutting the weight gives you an advantage, but is it unfair? I wouldn't say it's unfair because number one, you know, the fighters, they signed the contract and they agreed to a weight, and they both had the same amount of time to rehydrate, after the weigh-ins and everything. And I wouldn't say it's an unfair advantage because of that, because you're agreeing to it and both guys have that opportunity, and also I would say that, when guys cut that extreme amount of weight, a lot of times it can actually put them in danger because, they're, a little bit dehydrated coming into the ring. And we saw that with Chris Eubank against Conor Benn. I mean, I know that fight Well, I can't remember if it was a catch weight or not, but that's beside the point. He was dehydrated in the ring and he performed terribly. He definitely was not 100%, even though he was the bigger guy. He was clearly the naturally bigger guy. But I wouldn't say it's an unfair advantage because both guys agree to it. And I would say the main reason that we see these mismatches is when guys are, jumping up in weight like Manny Pacquiao, but that's because they're daring to be great. So sometimes that's just going to happen, but the fighter chooses to do that. So I wouldn't say it's unfair.
Perfect, brother. Thank you for that. So we'll go 1 minute and a half to 2 minutes back and forth discussion. Billionaire, you begin. 3, 2, 1, go.
All I'm saying is I gotta feed my family at the end of the day. If it's a set amount of money that I'm gonna be making that night, I'm gonna take my chances. Fighters aren't getting these big fights that they nowadays. It seems like they're very frail, and it's an unfair advantage. Why don't fighters lose weight to fight guys larger than them? Why is always somebody smaller?
I mean, I would say that, if you have like a Devin Haney-Lomachenko situation where you got, Devin Haney who's, cutting a ton of weight, to have that size advantage. But Lomachenko, the only reason he was in that fight and at that disadvantage is because he chose to move up from his natural weight of, 126 to 135 to do that.
You know what? I'm glad you brought up Devin Haney because Devin Haney, they say he walks around every bit of 160. Why does he cut all the way down to 135 and 140? Like what? Why? What advantage? What is this? Some type of advantage?
Well,
you think he's trying to
it gives him an advantage for sure, but I wouldn't say it's unfair. I wouldn't say it's unfair because both guys, Lomachenko, if he wanted to, he probably could have cut down to 122, 126 for a while.
You know why I say it's unfair? Because he was naturally at 147 for this last fight. The skill was still there. Matter of fact, he looked better than he ever has. So what gain did he for beating up those smaller guys?
Well, that kind of goes to my point. Look at Haney's power and his chin and his, just his overall, performance when he's fighting at his natural weight. But when he was cutting, yeah, he was the bigger guy, but he was a little bit dehydrated at 135. So there was, a little bit, look at the Ryan Garcia fight. He was a little bit more dehydrated than Ryan because Ryan, missed weight.
I stated the health risk about it. So, you ain't got to keep bringing that part up. I just want to understand, why don't these guys cut weight to fight guys larger than them? Why is always somebody smaller?
I mean, you've got guys who are maybe, the A side or, guys who are like the home fighters, the American fighters. And because of that, they can draw guys like Lomachenko into the ring, and have that advantage. So it's, I wouldn't say it's unfair though, just because the fighters sign the contract and they know what they're getting into before the fight.
How much you weigh, Jay Boogie?
How much do I weigh?
Yeah.
Like 140.
I weigh 235. You think it's fair if me and you were to fight right now?
Well, if I agreed to fight you, then I couldn't come back and say, "Oh man, that was an unfair advantage." If I signed the contract, you know what I'm saying? Like, so
put yourself in these fighter shoes nowadays. What if this is your chance, your opportunity? You gonna turn it down for a few pounds, or you gonna believe you're a fighter and take a chance?
Well, that is a good point. You got guys who are daring to be great, but we give them credit when they, if they do win those fights where they dare to be great, we give them credit for that, and we acknowledge that it was an advantage.
I think we're on the same team for this with Jay Boogie. You sound good. You sound like you were studying with me. My case closed, Jay.
Any more to add, fellas, or should we move on to round number 2?
I'm good.
All right. So Tahoma Boxing, who's judging for the first time because Remy had to step out. What I need you to do for me is to send me your scorecard for round number 1 in private message. Neutral and Spit Bucket do the same as normal. Much appreciated, guys. And let's move on to round number 2. Round number 2, should fighters be required to defend titles within their division before moving up or down? Jay Boogie, you begin. Minute and a half, give or take. 3, 2, 1, go. And your stance.
No, I would say they should not be required to defend a title in their weight class before they can move up or down, because that should just be up to the sanctioning bodies, whatever their policies are for how they, strip their fighters, So you've got guys out here that are fighting like once a year, and they're keeping their titles. So who cares if, you got a guy who wants to jump up or down for a big fight, but then 6 months later, maybe he, goes back to that original weight class. He's still defending the title the same amount of time in the same amount of time period as someone who's maybe fighting once a year, but not moving weight. So I don't think you should be required. I think that kind of, that kind of messes up things when you start requiring, and then you'd have to get all the sanctioning bodies to agree to that, So no, I don't think they should be required to.
Perfect, brother. Thank you. Billionaire Boxing, same thing on your stance. Begin in 3, 2, 1, go.
Look, when a champ holds a belt and chases a super fight in different weight classes, they effectively freezes their division. The problem is top-ranked contenders spend years training and winning to earn a mandatory position. If a champion leaves to chase the second belt, the contenders are left in limbo and unable to fight for the ultimate prize. This stuns earnings, prime years of athletes who've done everything right to try to get a fight with the champion who isn't there to defend. You know what I'm saying? Boxing rankings are there to determine the best in a weight class. If a champion doesn't defend against the number one contender, the title becomes a marketing tool rather than a profit or merit. How you think paper champions are made? When there's no title to defend, the sanctioning bodies are forced to create these belts for the contenders who make it to the top. Canelo Alvarez notoriously jumped from 160, 168, 175 and left contenders like David Benavidez and Mobili to wait. I mean, I just don't get it. What's the point of take Inoue for? People give Inoue a lot of flack. They tried to do him dirty in that first round, but he clears out his divisions before he moves up. And that's all I got to say.
Perfect. There we go. So back and forth conversation. Jay Boogie, you begin. 3, 2, 1, start.
So, I think that what you're saying is more of a problem, like with Canelo. I think it's more of a problem with the sanctioning bodies than, having to sit there and require everyone, because, you've got someone like Canelo who's a big star, so they give him more leniency than maybe, some other guys. That's up to the sanctioning bodies, though. I don't think that you should have to require all the sanctioning bodies to require their guys to defend, because then, because the question and the topic was, should they be required to defend in their own weight class? So who are they going to defend against? You could have a guy like Canelo defend against some random guy.
We can go back to the 80s. Tom Hearns, Hagler, they all fought each other. These guys all fought each other. That's how they decided who was the best in that division. We just don't get that no more. And us as boxing fans losing chances on fights. We got Wilder, Joshua. If that would have happened 5 years ago, that's something that we miss out on because these guys are chasing these big money fights. Fights here, fights over there. Clear out your division. What's the problem with that?
Yeah, but then, who are you requiring them to fight, though? Because, you could be Canelo and fight someone like Rocky Fielding and then go back and say, hey, there's my title defense. Now I'm going to move up in weight and stall the division, So unless you were to say, okay, you're required to fight the number one contender, but then which contender? The WBC, IBF, if you got 4 belts, you got 4 guys, how do you decide which one? You could pick the easiest one.
Pick one. Because at the end of the day, if we would have got David Benavidez and Canelo a long time ago, ain't no telling where boxing would be right now. If Canelo,
but that's not what the topic is, though. The topic is, should they be required to fight? Not should they be required to fight who defends one of the
fight. That's perfect. I think that's perfect for the topic because David Benavidez was within 168, correct?
Yeah.
He waited and waited for Canelo, who did his thing with Bivol, Kovalev, all these guys, until he had to move up. He voluntarily moved up, didn't want to wait anymore. We lose out on big fights because these champions don't want to hold down their divisions. I'm sorry, and that's what I'm going to stand on. I will die on that hill.
I guess that's
all right. I guess we'll close out round number 2. Good stuff, fellas. All 3 judges, send me your scorecard for round 2 as you did for round number 1. Much appreciated. Round number 3, we will have Billionaire begin. Is Jaron Ennis being developed carefully or delayed too long? Billionaire, you'll have a minute or so. Let me know your stance. Begin.
All right. In boxing, a boxer's physical peak is narrow. My opponent is basically arguing Boots is being seasoned, and I'm arguing that Boots is being stagnant. Boots is 28 years old. At 28 years old, Mike Tyson won undisputed and lost it already. At 28 years old, Sugar Ray Leonard had already beat Hearns and Duran. My point is development, which is basically what we're talking about. Development starts at 23, 24. Boots from 2021 to 2024, Boots fought B-level gatekeepers like Thomas Delorme and Sergey Lipinets, while the big two aged out of the division. The strongest smoking gun in my argument is that his delay, Boots' delay, wasn't strategic, but it was legal. In 2024, Boots issued started suing his former promoter, Now Boxing, for breach of contract, specifically because of inactivity. They failed to give him the fights, amount of fights that they promised him. My whole thing is, if you're gonna be 34-0, why haven't you fought a top 5 pound for pound guy yet? If guys that are being carefully developed, Abdullah Mason, they're strategically placed to the top. The guys who have titles and don't fight nobody, they're being shelved. Boots is being parked. And that's my point.
Thank you, brother. Jay Boogie, 150-25 or 150-30 to 151-30, give or take. 3, 2, 1, begin.
Okay, so, do I think he's being developed carefully or delayed too long? I think he's been developed carefully to the best of his team's, him and his team's ability. I know he doesn't have the best resume, but how is that his or his team's fault? Because by the time he had reached, by the time he had become a name and gotten a few guys on his resume, like, the Lipinets win, the Delorme win, by the time he reached that point, there weren't really any names at all at 147 other than Crawford and Spence. And they were, trying to fight each other. And neither one of them wanted to take that risk to fight a guy like Ennis, because Ennis didn't have a name and he was he's a really dangerous opponent. So there wasn't really anyone for his team to put him in with that was pound for pound or that was a big name that actually would sign the contract. So I would say that his team did the best that they could. And I don't think that it really matters, if he had to sue a promoter. I don't think it matters, which promoter he had. There weren't really any names at 147 during the time when he finally, kind of came on the scene, like 2020, 2021.
Thank you, brother. Perfect. So back and forth conversation to close out. Minute and a half to 2, give or take. Billionaire, you begin. 3, 2, 1. Go ahead.
I'm slightly offended. How do you dismiss him suing his former promoter because there was nobody in the division? He was obviously mad about it. It don't matter who was there. He was mad enough to sue for inactivity. These boxing fans got to cut that out. He was obviously inactive against his will, right? So that promotion issue had a lot. 2001 to 2024, Boots fought 3 times. What did fighting Karen the second time do for Boots?
I mean, to be honest, those guys, they're kind of those B and C level guys that, he did the best that he could to get those guys in the ring. And I like I said, I don't think that there was anyone out there for him to fight. He fought Stan Jonas. That was, a top contender. I mean, who else really was there? The Porters.
You're telling me he jumped over mountains to get Karen in the ring 2 times?
I don't know what you're trying to say. I mean, he fought who was available.
And Karen 2 times, the second time due for his career. It was the delay, my brother. That's why.
I guess you could argue. I'm not too familiar with that. I'm not too familiar with the situation with him suing his promoter, but I wouldn't say that there was anyone that he could have really fought.
All I'm saying is, if you're 34-0 and you haven't faced the top five pound fighter yet, you're not being. If you ain't being developed, you're being parked. Like I stated earlier, like he's 34-0, he's 28. Come on now, Devin Haney's 27. He's undisputed. Then moved up a couple divisions.
Well, what about now? Would you say he's still being parked by Eddie Hearn?
Eddie Hearn doing something funky. Did you like Lima? That fight lasted 30 seconds. Lima smelt the stadium.
Well, that's why no one wants to fight him. Instantly. That's why Virgil Ortiz is kind of. I've heard that he's been trying to price himself out of that fight. He can't get anyone with a name in the ring. So
we've been hearing bullcorn on both sides, so we can't even take it there. All I'm gonna say is Boots is finna be 40 years old and he ain't fought nobody yet. We need to go ahead and get it together. That's all I'm saying. He's being delayed for whatever reason.
I mean, we agree that he doesn't have a great resume, but I don't think that they're waiting for him to finally get that big fight, and there's no reason to fight some no-name guy who.
What are they waiting for? Yeah, love me like you do. Love me.
There's no reason to fight some no-name guy, just because us hardcore fans think he might be, a good opponent. He's waiting for the Virgil Ortizes and the Terrence Crawfords, but he hasn't been able to get it yet. And no promoter, was going to be able to get him those fights up until this point.
It sounds interesting, but at some point we got to hold these fighters accountable because his name holds weight. He's going to have to start putting his titles on the table and saying, no, I ain't fighting this cat until I get this cat. That's how they used to do it in the 90s. I don't know what changed.
You got to stay active. You got to still stay active, though. If nobody wants to fight you, you got to fight, some of these B-level guys.
It's always something in the middle, whether it's promoter, whether it's money. He can make it happen if he wants to.
All right, fellas, I think that's a good way to close it out. 3 judges, send me your scorecards, please, and I will announce the final outcome for this. Great stuff, guys. I knew this would be a competitive debate. I knew that both of you guys were seasoned, and I knew that I knew the way it played out was very similar to what I was expecting. So good stuff, guys. I'm just waiting for one more scorecard.
Yeah, good job.
And then
I knew he was gonna come with it.
Yeah, that was good. That was fun.
I love having both of you guys involved, man. Honestly. All right. So let me just read it in my head quickly. Make sure I got it right. All right. So let's start it off. Neutral corner scores about 30 to 28. Spit Bucket scores about 29-28. And Homa Boxing scores about 29-27 for our winner by unanimous decision. Billionaire Boxing TV gets the job done. Congratulations, my friend. Great stuff from both of you. You both did your thing. Billionaire gets the competitive unanimous decision victory. Before I have you guys speak, I do want to hear what the judges thought because this was a very close one, honestly, especially rounds 1 and 2. I felt Billionaire definitely took 3 objectively, but 1 and 2 were both swing rounds. So good stuff, fellas. Can't have Spit Bucket join because he's having problems, but neutral corner, the voice of reason. Let's hear what you thought about this fight, right? This matchup.
First and foremost, that was the best debate of the night, in my opinion. Big up to both of you. Very well presented. And just a quick one, Max. That was sent to me as a Christmas present. It's the picture of Mike Tyson. So yeah, so young Jack was a bit let's see, he was a bit hasty to label me a Mike Tyson fan. No, you've got to come with facts. You've got to come with great debate skills. These 2 gentlemen did it. If I just go to round 1, and that was the topic of weight training and stuff. I think Boogie, I'll give you a 10 straight away for you sign the contract. That's it. But Billionaire comes back in that round with some really good points about, should you put yourself at risk in that? Is there a need for it and all the rest of it? I just thought he presented his debate, so I'll give that 10-10 that first round. Second round, 10-9 to Billionaire. You were keeping to the rules about the sanctioning bodies rather than, creating an alternative rhetoric for your argument, which you pretty much did all the way through that debate. A Billionaire was coming up with the sanctioning bodies, and the sanctioning bodies, there's 4 of them, and you can't tell me that you can't organize a defense between 4 of them who have got mandatories coming up as well. So there is precedence for making that rule. However, there's no legal grounds, is there, to compel anyone to move up, to retain your belt and fight for it. So, very close round. 10-9, I give it to Billionaire. And Billionaire takes the last round because Bozy Ennis took his son the IBF route in 2022 instead of waiting one more fight for Terence Crawford on the winner of Errol Spence. If he had just waited 2 more months, he would have been the WBO mandatory, but dropped the ball. So just on that technicality, I'll give it a Billionaire.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Neutral. We loved having you. I'm going to message you privately.
Thank you very much for having me. It's been a pleasure.
100%. It's been a pleasure to have you as well. We'll talk soon, brother. Thank you so much.
No problem. Thank you.
Bye-bye. Perfect. And home of boxing, the youngin, the prospect, almost beat the 1 seed, so lots of respect. Talk to us quickly about this match. You had a 29-27 for Billionaire. Just let us know a little rundown of how you scored it quickly.
Yeah, no, for sure. How Neutral was saying as well. I thought this was definitely one of the most competitive fights. It was a close one for sure. I just the first round. Well, I'll just start from round by round. The first round, I was about to give it 10-10, but then due to the last Billionaire's boxing point where he had asked the question to Jake Boogie, and Jake Boogie wasn't too sure how he should answer. That's when I decided to give it a Billionaire boxing. But he did have a good point. Once they signed the contract, the two fighters agreed to what they agreed, but it is a disadvantage at the end of the day once you really ask the question to somebody else. So that's where Billionaire boxing took it for me. And then the second round, that was a good one. I had Jay Boogie due to him letting Billionaire boxing know you got to also just blame it on the other sanctioning fees, not just only Canelo, because Billionaire boxing only kind of was talking about Canelo mainly in that point, and Jay Boogie kind of hit him with facts. So that was good. And then the third and final round, that was kind of a hard question. It's a hard question to debate on because I feel that many fans would feel that Boots is being parked. How Billionaire boxing was saying, he is pretty old now. Devin Haney, he gave a good example. His age, he already became undisputed, and Boots is really backtracked, and they still don't know if he's gonna get the Virgil fight. So yeah, no, Billionaire boxing was giving out good news or good facts on that one. I know, but it was a close one. So overall,
thank you, my friend. Great rundown, great recap. It's great to have you. I'm gonna message you longer, more in depth stuff about possibly being more involved in the future of these tournaments. But thank you so much, my friend. It's been great having you.
Yeah, I appreciate you as well. I'll definitely be glad to join again. This is just my first time, so I'm barely getting comfortable, getting used to it. But yeah, I'm glad to be here again, and hope to see you guys again. And have a good rest of your weekends.
Thank you, brother. You too, man. Thanks for coming on. Talk to you soon. All right, fellas, let's have Jay Boogie give his recap first. Jay Boogie, thanks once again for stepping in this matchup. You made it competitive. You did your thing. It was a good match. Billionaire is a very high-skilled, high-level debater, and you made it competitive. And possibly, and some people may have been able to nick it out. It was very close. Just talk to us a little bit about the debate and how you're feeling right now.
I thought it was a good debate. I mean, it was definitely close. He's, like I said before, as a judge, he's a really good debater. He knows how to speak. So I think maybe some of the judges got a little bit caught up with their own opinions or like the overall narrative, like Boots, not having fought anybody yet, but rather than the actual topics, what the actual topic was. But I'm not going to argue with the judges. It was really fun. And hopefully, Billionaire goes on to, win the whole thing and make me look better.
Respect, bro. Thanks for coming on once again, man. It's always a pleasure having you here. And just know you're always welcome to be involved in any way, shape, or form. So thanks once again, my friend.
All right. Appreciate it, y'all.
Have a good one, brother. BBTV, 3 wins, man. 3 wins total so far. Most wins anyone has had in the entire tournament so far. Like, I don't know how to describe it. It's almost like Vladimir Klitschko's title reign. You know what I mean? The most. You get the job done. Competitive, but you get it. Can you hear me? You hear a little bit of an echo, possibly. There's a little bit of an echo. But you get the job done.
I don't know if you can hear me.
I could hear you. You can't hear me? We could hear you. So just say your thoughts.
I'm actually listening. I'm listening on YouTube. That's how I can hear you.
You're good, G. Okay, so I'll stop talking now. Just say your post-fight thoughts.
All right, so all I'm going to say is, bro, I had a good time. You know what I'm saying? I don't know who I'm going against next, but I hope they ready. Max, this is fun. Until we meet again, bro, this is BBTV.
Thank you, brother. Appreciate you. All right, everyone. We come to a close. Round 1 is over. We have some fun matchups. We have Howboxingworks going on to the next round. We have BBTV going on to the next round. We have Loyd Sports taking on BBTV. That's a great matchup. So we're going to have Howboxingworks versus Blunts and Boxing. Great match. Really good matchup. And then on the other side of the bracket, we have Billionaire Boxing TV taking on Loyd Sports. I cannot wait. I'm planning on doing the next round January 18th, a Sunday, instead of this week being a Saturday. We're going to do it next week on Sunday, January 18th. Thank you to everyone that tuned in. I had a lot of fun. I'll see you guys later. Stay safe, everyone. God bless.